If you're watching this video, the universe has probably been giving you signs that you need to surrender. If you keep getting this message, maybe you're on a twin flame journey, or you're just trying to manifest something and you keep hearing this message that you need to let go, you need to surrender. How do we do that? I remember in the beginning of my spiritual awakening, the universe kept pummeling me with this message that I needed to surrender. And I remember being like, what does that even mean? How do I do that? I feel like I'm already doing it and I keep getting messages that I need to surrender even more. So what does it mean to surrender? Surrendering doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of attachment to outcome or needing a certain circumstance to change or to happen in order for you to be happy in life. And instead, giving it up to the universe and trusting that the universe is going to provide you this thing that you want in divine timing. And in the meantime, learning to be content with where you are right now. And I know that's hard to hear if the circumstance that you want to change is really shitty, or if you really aren't getting your basic needs met, or you're just really suffering because of some scenario. Like, there's some really shitty stuff that can happen on Earth, and if you're going through that, I'm really sorry. You know, it's still completely valid to feel emotions about certain things, but surrendering is getting to a stage after processing those emotions where you learn to find that inner peace. Sometimes when we're going through really horrible circumstances, it's actually easier to surrender because it almost feels like there's no other option. When you're suffering so much, getting to an almost meditative state where you come so far into the present moment that that circumstance or that thing that you're lacking in your life just kind of disappears because it doesn't really impact you in the very present moment. And you might be thinking like, well, I have bills due, and if I don't pay them, then the lights are gonna turn off, or maybe the lights literally do turn off in this very second. If that happens to you, wild, crazy. I don't know how you're still watching this video. Maybe your phone has battery still. But if you really come into the exact very center present moment, that thing isn't really impacting you. Like, sure, the lights are off. Okay, cool. Whoop-de-doo. Like, where you are right here, right now, this very millisecond, everything's okay. And sometimes it can feel like we've surrendered as much as we can surrender, and yet the universe keeps giving us this message that we need to surrender some more. And that's because you might be able to surrender for a second or a minute or a few days, but sometimes that discontentment bubbles back to the surface. Like, for example, if you're trying to manifest love into your life and you're getting very impatient about where is this person, why aren't they here now? Surrendering is learning how to be okay without them in your life. And there's gonna be days where you're just totally content being single and on your own, and there's gonna be days where you feel lonely and that just like ache in your heart, which sucks. And this isn't about spiritual bypassing and ignoring that emotion. You still have to process it and feel it and acknowledge it and send it love. That's the first step in surrendering, is accepting the emotion. And then once you've accepted it, you become the observer of it, and you live in a sort of meditative state where you recognize that everything is okay right now. You don't need a partner in this very split second of your life. It's like, even when you do have a partner, you're still gonna have moments where you're alone, and in those moments you feel all right. And let me be clear that surrendering does not mean giving up. It just means releasing emotional attachment to the outcome. So you still absolutely can take inspired action towards changing a certain circumstance or towards achieving a certain thing in your life, obtaining a certain thing, but you pursue that in a much less stressed state. So in recap, surrendering is all about giving it up to the universe, being content not having that thing in your life, and just living in the present moment, living in the now, living in the infinity that is this present second. And being content without this thing in your life does not mean being happy without it, because happiness is a fleeting emotion. If you're always chasing happiness, you're always gonna be suffering in your life. But being content just means being okay, being peaceful in a way. And you can be going through shitty things and still find some level of peace while still observing and acknowledging the hardship that you're going through. So if you're struggling to surrender, I highly recommend meditating for 10 to 20 minutes and just asking the universe for help, asking the universe for guidance, asking it to relieve you of this burden. And even if you just feel peace for a few seconds, it's better than nothing. And every single day you come back to that practice and you'll find more and more peace with the situation that you're in. Whatever you're going through, I hope that it gets better and that you find that peace within. You learn how to surrender, as annoying as it is. Let me acknowledge, sometimes it's so freaking frustrating to hear this message from the universe that you're supposed to surrender, because you're like, I don't want to. This just sucks. This just sucks. I'm trying. It's hard. Just give me this thing that I want and then I'll feel better. But the universe will give you the thing that you want once you feel like you don't need it anymore. Once you feel like that longing, that ache for this thing has dissipated from your body and you're just okay being in the present. And very important caveat, if you're surrendering so that you can manifest something in your life, that is not surrendering. That's still attachment to outcome. You can't surrender in hopes that that state will bring you that thing, because that shows that you're still attached to the outcome. And that's a recipe for like, okay, I've been living in surrender for a couple days, give me my thing, where is it? Where's my love? Where is my twin flame? Where is whatever it is that you're trying to change in your life or obtain in your life? So that's a little catch-22, which can be really frustrating. You can't surrender in order to obtain something. You have to surrender to surrender. You have to surrender just to feel peace and to feel okay and to accept not having this thing in your life. And you may obtain this thing in your life in the future, you hopefully will, but you have to get to a place where you're okay even if that doesn't happen. That's a little loop that I used to get caught up in myself, that I kept being like, okay, I've surrendered, where is it? Girl, if you're saying that, that means you haven't actually surrendered. You've gotten into that state of surrender for a few days, maybe even a few weeks, but you can't fool the universe. The universe knows if you're surrendering so that you can manifest something, and it's not gonna give it to you. You have to surrender, just to let go, just to accept the present moment. And then when you feel that like antsiness creeping up again, where you're like, but I really want this thing, that's where you have to surrender some more. And it's okay if you're not perfect at it. It's okay if you don't constantly live life in a Zen state like a monk, being perfectly content without all of these things that you want to achieve in your life, especially if they are like basic needs that are missing out of your life. Whether you're financially struggling or dealing with health issues or food scarcity or whatever it is, my heart goes out to you genuinely. Again, it's not about spiritual bypassing and getting rid of the emotion and pretending like everything's perfectly fine without it. It's about processing the emotion, observing it, and meditating and just finding the inner peace that is observing the storm rather than feeling like you're in the middle of the storm. So that's it. Normally I script my videos, but I just felt inspired to speak from the heart and channel this message for you. I know there's someone out there who really needs to hear this message. So whatever you're going through, I hope that it gets better and that you find that peace within. I'm sending you so much love and peace. Bye.